Dear all, our alumni started working with Rowan Builders from 2012. माझा आवाज येतोय ना? It is audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Our alumni started working with Rowan Builders from 2012. With this, he worked at Ahmedabad as a graduate trainee engineer on site, and he handled a Colgate Palmolive project in Ahmedabad, which cost incurred, that is 75 crores. Then next, he shifted towards Hyderabad with one project, that is Johnson and Johnson projects, as a site in charge, designation of site in charge. The project cost was 27 crores, and he had handled very well that these two projects. Afterwards, he started their own business with a partnership with G Square Construction since 2016, and now he's working for the same firm as a partner with this GS Square Construction, and he have two projects, majorly MIDC area in Chakan and Bhosri. So Bhosri project is completed. So the project cost was near about 4 crores, and same in the MIDC, he has handled 40,000 square feet area, MIDC area, and their cost was is 4.5 crores. So this is about our alumni, today's guest. So please be patient and listen. He will share his experience with you. So please listen carefully or patiently. Thank you. Hand over to Gokul, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Yes.
Good morning to everybody. I'll try to cram up 8 years of my experience into 1 hour. So I'll be trying my best to tell you all whatever I learned in 8 years. So please be open to all the ideas and please be patient with me. So let us start with our seminar. So what we'll be talking is, actually, I can't talk much about technical subjects because your teachers are very much better equipped to talk about technical things. So I'll be concentrating on what happens after you graduate, what you should be doing about your job or your business after graduating. So the topic for today is grooming for business and being job ready. So we'll be discussing two things here. So yes, what we'll be discussing here is grooming for business and being job ready. So what we'll be discussing here is two things, being job ready and preparing a mindset to be an entrepreneur and to run a business. So we'll start with the first part, that is how to groom yourself for a job. That is pretty important. That is pretty challenging because jobs are, scarce in our industry, not too easy to get, but it is not that it is very difficult to find as well. See, if you are persistent, you can get a good job. So what are the requirements of the industry from an employee? See, I employ people and there are some expectations that I have from my employees because, I'm doing business. I need to earn out of it. So what is the most important thing is that returns from the employee. I'm paying somebody, say 20,000 rupees, 40,000 rupees a month. I expect a return of at least twice what I am paying to that person. So if I'm paying a person 20,000 rupees, I should get an output of 40,000 minimum. There are companies, IT companies, which get returns 5 times, 10 times more. My brother is a CA in Deloitte. So his company pays him 70,000 a month and they incur an income of 10 lakh rupees a month from his work. So that is how the industry works. So that is very important. Otherwise, there's no reason for me to employ anybody if the returns are not there from the employee. Then there's something called as adaptability. Now you should be able to adapt to all the situations. You are not, there's no foresight as to what will happen. You should be ready on your toes and adapt to it. Say like if you're asked to change your field, if you're a site engineer and you're requested to get into an office job, say estimation, planning, billing, whatever it is, you should be able to adapt to it. If you're not adaptable, you're redundant. I'll be very clear, because industry works that way. It is very capitalist. If you are not adaptable, you'll be just, relieved from your work. Third is knowledge. Knowledge is very important. If you don't know about your work, you're useless to the employer. Sorry for being very blunt, but this is how it is. If I'm not able to get the knowledge out of my employee, then there's no point in hiring that employee. There should be complete understanding of what you are doing, and you should be ready to learn new things. There's a lot of things to learn. I keep on seeing YouTube. So actually the host would have to because you'll have to explain a lot of things to your laborers, to your managers, to your clients, and it's quite a job to do that. Communication is the key for your success in a job or even in your business, because everything depends on communication in our business. So moving on, what you're expected to do and what you should do. You should have a sense of ownership. Sense of ownership means that, you should treat the work as your own work, the company as your own company, and do the work. Say if your relieving time is, say, 6 o'clock in the evening, and you know that you'll have to work beyond 6 o'clock, say 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock also, you should, not, stay back on the site or stay back in the office and finish off your work, because consider it to be your own work. Only then you'll be able to succeed in your job. Your employer would see, he'll observe. The employees are pretty smart in that way. They keep on observing their employees, and he'll know that, okay, he's pretty dedicated to his work. You'll get more and more opportunities, more and more responsibilities. And trust me, a civil engineering job is no fun if you don't have any responsibilities or anything new to do. So that is what sense of ownership is. You also have to have a thirst to learn. You should always keep on be ready with your job. The thirst for knowledge should always be there. So the next slide.
Yes.
You should always have, the thirst to learn, keep on learning new things, keep on updating yourself, because you should not be redundant. I've seen so many engineers while I was doing my job. These guys were 50 years old, 55 years old, and they could not, even take out a normal BBS or calculate the coordinates of your position of your, various points on the site. So this makes them redundant. They are not updated. They are out of the work. So that happens quite often. So you should always keep on learning new things. Learning is very important. Learning goes on till the end of your career. Now, there's one more thing called as fitting into the corporate structure. This is pretty tricky. Corporate structure is pretty complex, and you should always try to get into it. In your job, there are no friends, to be honest. So you should always be formal, mean business over there. Mixing work life and private life is something that I'll not suggest you all to do. It can create a lot of mess. So, you should fit into the corporate structure. You should know how the ladder is, how should you move up the ladder. That is quite important. And, you should ask questions. Now, there's a lot of fear and anxiety amongst new employees that if I don't know anything, how should I ask? My employer would be pretty angry with me, or he'll wonder that why have I employed this person if he doesn't know the work. So you're not expected to know everything. Even now, when I have doubts, I keep on calling my seniors, my teachers, my mentors, and it is okay to ask questions. You're not expected to know everything, but you should be receptive to what is being told to you. So it's okay to ask questions. And most importantly, this is where I could not do well, is to ask for an appraisal. See, you're doing your work. That also means that you should be paid for it. So it is okay to ask for an appraisal if you feel that, okay, you're doing a good job. You've been consistent in your work. It's been 6 months, 1 year, and you are bound to have an appraisal. If you don't ask for an appraisal, you really won't get it. Trust me, there's nobody there to care for you. All they care for is the company's profits and not about you. So you need to ask for your own rights, for your own appraisal. Moving on to the next slide. So there are skills that we should develop. Like I said, constant updating, that is very important. You should not be redundant. Moving on, there are solution finding skills. Now, there's one thing in our civil engineering, that nothing is impossible in this. Whatever mistake you make, however big it is, there's one good thing about our field is that, you can rectify it. There's nothing impossible in our field to rectify. I had made a lot of mistakes. In my initial project, I was given a building to manage in the earlier times. And, the building should be east-west. I marked it north-south, and the entire excavation was done. Everything was done. And then when I saw the drawing, I realized that, oh God, I've just messed it up. So, I just went to my project manager. I told him कि सर ऐसे ऐसे हो गया है, अभी क्या कर सकते हैं इसको, यानी आप चाहिए तो आप मुझे पनिश कर दो, नौकरी से निकाल दो. He just sat there. He called a tea for me. He asked me to have some tea, relax, cool down a bit. And then he said that, Gokul, कैसे होता है, अपने फील्ड में कुछ इम्पॉसिबल नहीं है, सब कुछ अपने फील्ड में सही हो सकता है, तुमने बस उसके ऊपर सोचना चाहिए कि क्या हो सकता है, कैसे कम से कम लॉस में अपन कर सकते हैं. एंड ही टोल्ड मी अ सॉल्यूशन हाउ टू गेट इट डन. एंड विद इन अ डे, the excavation was revised. We obviously had to spend a bit more on the excavation part, but it was not, the quantum was not as big as I had anticipated it to be. So, you should be open to finding solutions. If you don't find solutions, you'll be stuck there. You should be adaptable. You should keep on thinking of how to go ahead. Every employer asks for, and it is a nightmare for an employee. You can't really handle a lot of things together, but this is how it works. You have to say, take care of the site work, take care of the planning work as well, or somebody will. But multitasking is something that is very much expected, and you should be open to it. You should keep a very cool, calm mind. That is the key to multitasking. Moving ahead, you should have good communication skills. Your language doesn't matter. Your ability to explain matters. If you have a client and if you have a problem, you should be able to explain the problem to him or tell him ऐसे ऐसे है, ये करना पड़ेगा. So you should be able and very clear about your work. Same goes with the laborers. You should be able to explain them because they don't understand the technical terms. If you laga uramba check karna hai, so this is how it works. You should be very good in your communication. I'm not saying that your language skills should be proficient, but your communication should be very clear. Now we'll move on to the more interesting part, that is business. That is something very challenging, and it's something that takes a toll on you but rewards you as well. So let us see what avenues of business we have going on. There's something called as consultancy. Now consultancy, it's a very vast field. The consultants that we usually know are RCC consultants or the project management consultants, but it also goes to geotechnical consultancy. It also goes to earthquake management. It also goes to, it's a very huge and a vast field. There's something also called as, facade consultancy. It's a very huge and a vast field that can be explored. There is something called as a MEP consultant, mechanical engineering and plumbing. That is a very niche field. Not many are into it. You've got consultants for everything. So consultancy is one field. Next comes contracting. Contracting is also a pretty varied field. It has infrastructure, it has buildings, it has schools, residences, everything is covered into contracting. Whatever we do is contracting. There are interior contracts as well. I have a lot of classmates, my friends who are into interiors as well. So contracting is another field. Then comes developer and real estate, the phase that we see of civil engineers. Well, developers and real estate is a very small part. There's a huge iceberg under the sea, apart from developers and real estate. But this is something that I think we should all be aware of. What land is, 7/12 क्या होता है, कैसे क्या permissions क्या लगती है, bylaws क्या लगता है. You should be quite equipped with those things. I think it is there in your curriculum. Building planning and everything is there. So that is something we should be quite aware of. Even if we are not into that field, we should be aware of that because, I'll give an example. My father-in-law, he just, there's a plot of his and he said कि ये बांधना है मुझे, तो कैसे क्या bylaws लगेंगे. So had I not been able to answer his question, he would have looked at me and said कि यार civil engineer की क्या है, and they really don't know what our field is, but that is what people expect from us, that we should know building bylaws. It is something that you should be pretty much into. Then there's something called as product development. This is very niche. It is not quite much big in India, but product development is something that is coming up, and there's a lot of profit into it. People are developing products. You must have heard about BG Sharke. They bought autoclaved aerated blocks in India, and they were the pioneers into it. And they have grown a really huge industry out of AAC blocks. Now people are following that, but they pioneered that industry. Then there's something also called as a permeable concrete, where you can do payments of permeable concrete. Water percolates through the concrete. So that is something new. There are so many products coming up that it's a very niche field. If a product clicks to you, that is something that will give you really, really good returns. You'll have a monopoly in it. Now, let me tell you all something is that doing business is not a piece of cake, nor is it impossible. You should have a lot of courage, drive, and you should get your hands dirty into the things, because without getting into the crux of your business, you really won't be able to do it. When I initially started my business, people just think of you as you're someone very young, someone who's someone who can be taken for a ride. The laborers, the suppliers, everybody. But if you have good sound experience, you will be able to teach your laborers, your suppliers, that ऐसे नहीं ऐसे होता है, ईंट ऐसे नहीं तोड़ी जाती है, वैसे तोड़ी जाती है, प्लास्टर ऐसे किया जाता है. You should have a sound ear that if a concrete is going on and the laborer is using a vibrator in the concrete, you should be able to tell from the sound that whether the vibrator needle is vertical or is it horizontal, because it affects a lot on your quality. You should know your business really in and out. You should know your field really in and out. Otherwise, people will take you for a ride and you'll end up doing losses. So, and business takes a lot of toll on you. It needs a lot of patience. I've been a lot of debts. People were calling us for payment for their suppliers. It was really difficult to handle everything, but you should have courage. You should have the grit. You should know that your money is at stake. So you should have patience. You should hold on. You should have the grit, and you'll get good returns. So after 2.5 years, in past 1.5 years, we've been getting returns of what we worked, the sweat, the tears that we had. It is giving us returns. Next slide, please, sir. So moving ahead, there are some points that we should focus upon as an entrepreneur.
Is it not visible? I have changed.
Basics are very important, because without that, you really can't go ahead. You should know.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, sorry,
but
for the
I
poor
think
connectivity.
slide changing, change. I have changed that slide, but now it is okay.
Yes. So there are points that we need to focus upon. You should not forget your basics. You should know the conversions. You should know what a square feet to square meter is, what a brass to cubic meter is, how to set out the line for a building. Even if you are a big shot builder or a big shot contractor, even if you boast that you don't really go on your site, the day you land on your site, you should know what work is going on. In the company that I worked for, Rohan Builders, the CMD used to come on site, and people used to actually get fever that he's coming on site, because he knew his basics really, really well. If he just passes through your site, through your building, he'll just point out and he'll say, "ये गलत हो गया, ये गलत हो गया, ये गलत है, क्या कर रहा है, यानी मैं तुझे पैसे क्यों दे रहा हूँ?" That is the language that he used to use, because he knew what the basics, what his business is. So unless you don't know your basics, unless you don't know your stuff, you really can't expect to earn profits or make a good name for yourself. Then there's something that we engineers neglect upon, that is accounting. And you should have some basic knowledge of commerce. Accounting is something very important, because in our first year of business, we messed up a lot of accounts. We didn't know किसको कितना देना है, किससे कितना लेना है. We really didn't know कि outstanding कितना है, दोनों partners में split कितना होना है, किसने कितने पैसे डाले. It was a huge mess, and it made us sweat to clear all those accounts. It was pretty challenging, because we neglected that. We didn't pay attention to it. But accounting is the soul of your business. अगर accounts नहीं आ गया तो मान लो भाई साहब आपका loss होने वाला है. And commerce knowledge means you should know about taxes. You should know, even if you have a CA, you should know your taxes well, because the initial CA that we had, he used to take us for a ride. He used to say कि इतना ये नहीं हो गया है, अभी क्या करना है. He used to, people can leech money out of you. That happens. So you should know कि हाँ GST क्या होता है, GST इस पे कितना लगता है, उस पे कितना लगता है, कितना भरना पड़ता है, income tax क्या ये है field है. If yours is a LLP, how much tax liability is there? If yours is a partnership firm, how much liability do you hold? How to save taxes? That is something that we should all know if we are getting into business. If we don't know our taxes, we'll be in a huge mess. There'll be notices after notices. The mess that we made in our first year of business, we are still paying for it. We about a few months back, we again got a service tax notice. Service tax अभी बंद हो गया, लेकिन we still are getting those notices, and it is very difficult for us to respond to them. You should also maintain your records. That is also very important. Paperwork is something that needs to be looked upon. It should not be delegated to somebody. Moving on, you should know something about team building. Team building is the crux. The earlier boss, the mentor, whom I consider as my guru, Mr. Suhas Lunkad, the owner of Rowan Builders, he told me कि गोकुल अपने को दो चीजें अपने को हमेशा डेवलप करना होता है, एक राइट हैंड और एक लेफ्ट हैंड. You should have people whom you can trust upon for everything. If that person is sent to the site, you should sleep very, very soundly that हाँ ये गया है ना तो काम हो जाएगा मेरा. And for that you have to build your team. You have to invest a lot into them, emotionally, monetarily, everything. They should feel protected. They should feel protected with you. They should know that they have a future with you. So that is how team building happens. Then you should know how to delegate work. Now what we do is, many businesses don't prosper because we don't delegate work. ऐसे लगता है कि हाँ यार ये इसको क्यों लेना है काम के लिए, यानी इसके लिए क्यों आदमी लगने वाला है, ये तो मैं खुद ही कर दूंगा. अच्छा इसका क्या है, साइट इंजीनियर की क्या जरूरत है, मैं खुद कर दूंगा, मैं साइट पे खुद खड़ा रहूंगा. But what happens is that you get stuck over there and you can't work on other things that you would have rather. If I have a site engineer working on my site, I can go around, meet architects, meet consultants who will give me more projects. I'll be increasing my team. Delegation of work is very important. If somebody can do 80% of your efficiency, I'll say that you should delegate the work to him, because you can't really be stuck everywhere. You really can't do everything. You should be able to delegate work. That is something very challenging, but delegation is very important if you want your business to grow. Otherwise, you'll be just limited to a pretty small firm. There's an example called as RBPL. It was once upon a time, 20 years ago, it was a really huge firm. They were constructing foot-over bridges, roads, a lot of contracts. It was a pretty good firm, but it was all family-centric. People, the CMD used to take all the calls. They had less staff. They were pound foolish, penny wise. So they are about to, they've got very less contracts now. They are about to wind up their business, I guess. So that is something what happens if you don't delegate work. Again, in business, we are expected to improve constantly. Constant improvement and changes are the life of business. Whenever there's a new tax law coming up, you should be the first person to read it. And rather than your CA calling you up, you should call him and tell him कि भाई ऐसा ऐसा है, अपना इसमें tax बच सकता है. Or if there's a new technology coming up, say there's a new, there are new bylaws. We had a working stress limit earlier. Now we have limit stress. So you should be knowing, you should be updated what are the changes in IS codes, what is going on, how to save, because constant improvement will help you save a lot of money. Moving on further, choosing a right partner and a team. Now this is very important. Choosing a partner in business is almost as equivalent to choosing your life partner, because that partner of yours would always be related to you in your business. Without a good partner, there'll be disputes, and that's something that will be very harmful to your business. And you should also be having a good eye, good knowledge to build a team. Team building is very important, because without a team, you really can't work well. Moving further, you should also know that there are a lot of risks involved in business. Business is not easy. Every day when you go to sleep, you really can't, switch off your phone or turn your phone on silent, because there'll be something that might come up, and for that you'll have to face, or you'll have to answer. Say रात को शटरिंग गिर गया, concrete बह गया, क्या करना है? They'll be calling you. We had a very unfortunate incident on our site last year. People were involved. We had to show a lot of compliances, and there are risks involved. You can even be held accountable for whatever that goes wrong on your side. There's nobody else to take the blame except you. No matter who does the mistake, you will be the one who will be blamed. Now moving further, this might be pretty surprising to you all, that you should focus on your academics. Academics is something very important, very much needed. When we were in college, people, my classmates, my peer, for example, used to say that, "अरे ये जो college में पढ़ाते हैं ये कुछ नहीं है, यानी कहा तो hydraulics सीखने वाला life में, कहा तो ये BBS बनाना है life में, छोड़ो ना यार." This is something that I used to delegate, which I regret now. There was something called as MSP, what we were taught. I told कि यार ये कौन यूज करने वाला है साइट पे ऐसे काम नहीं होता है. But when I was asked to be a planning engineer in Rohan, my project manager called and told me कि गोकुल ये अपने को MSP तू सीख ले, तेरे को आता होगा, कॉलेज में सिखाया होगा, तो ऐसे ऐसे करना अपने को सब, यानी प्लानिंग पूरा सबमिट करना क्लाइंट को, आज तो लैपटॉप लेके जा, कल कर देना तू उतना. So that is something which was a nightmare for me, because I remembered my teacher's words कि this is something important, that this is something you should do, but I neglected that. Same goes with BBS. I used to not concentrate at all on BBS, but then I was also given a work to find out, billing amounts for my own particular building, for my own structure. So I had to again revise, brush up what BBS is. हाँ बाबा, bending length कितना बढ़ जाता है, hooks का कितना ये होता है, how much is the hook length, and whatever that is. So it was a very difficult thing for me. Structural analysis is something that we all feel that हाँ मुझे RCC consultant नहीं बनना है, क्यों सीखना ये? But please believe me, that is very important. If you sit with your client in a meeting, the client would ask you questions. He'll say that, why do we need so much of steel? Okay, ये इतना छोड़ना, ये इतना छोड़ दे. You should be able to explain the client कि sir ये इतना इतना लगने वाला है. These are the loads that will be coming upon on your structure, and this is how it works. Analysis. There was something, I made a mistake in my initial work. There was a footing given, and the orientation of the footing was changed. It happens. So the client came over, he said कि ये footing तोड़ना पड़ेगा, सब बर्बाद है. So the footing, the cost going up involving in that was pretty high, around 2.5 lakh rupees. That was not even my yearly salary at that time. So I was under tension. What I did was I sat at the night and I calculated what are the stresses coming on that footing. Is it still safe if the orientation is changed? The next day I went to the client and told him कि साहब ऐसा ऐसा है, to the consultant told him कि साहब ऐसा ऐसा है, ये फिर भी safe है, आप आपके consultant से एक बार verify कर लीजिएगा. So he verified, and we didn't have to break that footing. Had I not been proficient in my analysis work, I would have incurred a huge loss to my company. Now this happens even in your business. You should have a very good hold on your subjects, and academics is something that you should not take lightly. That is something important that I've learned the hard way. I don't want you all to learn it the hard way. Moving further, there's something also called as compliance is needed. This is something that we don't have to care about in our job, but we need to care about that a lot in a business. There are a lot of compliances. There are labor law compliances. There are tax compliances. There are safety compliances. There are pretty much rules, the bylaws of the Pune Municipal Corporation or whatever corporation you're working in, that, okay, this is how you should provide your safety nets, or this is how you should, have sheets all around your site. This is how the safety works. That is a lot of compliances that nobody would teach you. You'll have to learn on your own. And compliances, trust me, if you miss a compliance, we had missed, labor compliances. We didn't file for the PF ESI for our laborers in our second year when we were growing. Initially in the first year, we didn't have more laborers on a roster, and we didn't comply with the labor laws. The labor inspector talked to me the way the labor inspector talked. They are really rude. They are really, that is something you should be working on. Compliances is very important. Don't neglect your taxes. Okay, and moving on to the next slide, that is something that I want to discuss with you all. You all know that there's a pandemic going on. Businesses has come to a standstill. You all would be graduating, I guess, in a year or two. And what will happen? Abhi mandi aa gaya, recession aa gaya, kya karna chahiye? Jobs come ho gaye, but just thinking and being negative won't really help you. This pandemic can be an opportunity to us. I really feel that there'll be a huge increase in industrial growth. With industrial growth, there comes a lot of infrastructure. There comes a lot of civil work related to industries, and that can provide you with a lot of opportunities. If an industry is about to be set up, they'll need consultants, they'll be needing contractors, they'll be needing infra, they'll be needing roads, they'll be needing flyovers, they'll be needing railway connectivity. Everything would be needed. And I guess, the government is pretty pro development right now. So that is good for us. Moreover, there'll be free flow of money after once the pandemic has passed, because it's not that people don't have money, they're just holding it for the worser times. But I guess this time shall pass soon, and there'll be a free flow of money, and that when there's a flow of money, people profit, everybody profits. So that is something that we should be positive about. Now, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, I'm racing towards achieving cost efficiency. Earlier, what would happen is that engineers wouldn't be needed much on site. We would say that okay, site supervisor hai, wo pura handle kar lega. But what happens is that you need a technical person on site for achieving cost efficiency. Buildings plumbing can be done by a normal plumber as well, but in that the plumber would maybe use 20-25% more of bends, more of pipes, more of fixtures that a consultant would save you. So even if you have to pay a fee to the consultant, you'll be saving a lot of money in terms of the work that you'll be doing on your site. So there's a race towards achieving cost efficiency. Everybody is after achieving cost efficiency, and that gives us a lot of opportunity. And there's also a need for young talent. Like I told you, there are 50-year-old engineers, 55-year-old engineers who are redundant. Really, they've lost their touch with the technical things. So there's a huge need for young talent in our field, and that will give impetus to hiring. That will be pretty good for our industry. Don't be disheartened by the current situation. This will pass soon. So I think I'll conclude my seminar here. Please feel free to ask me questions.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
There is questions.
Yes.
The one question asks, how to motivate your peers? The student is asking about how to motivate your peers. That is asked by Dr. Lab Singh. Means I think maybe one person is attending outside of our.
All right.
So maybe your parents is there.
All right. All right. To motivate your peers, first you need to be motivated yourself. You should bring in a lot of positivity in your work. Getting disheartened is not an option in your business or in your job. Staying positive is something that is very much needed. And when you yourself is motivated, you'll be able to motivate your peers. You should be, constantly happily dissatisfied. You're happy, but you're dissatisfied. You want to learn more. That will make you grow. And that is how people will look at you, and you'll be able to motivate them. Tell them that, okay, this is going to pass. Like I told you, that pandemic is going to pass. There'll be good things coming over, and just to stay positive.
Okay. Same person asked another question.
Conflicting.
How conflicting is ethics in business?
All right. This is pretty tricky to tell, because ethics and business keep on conflicting. There's something called as a Trimix floor. Now, usually Trimix floor thickness is 200 mm, most probably. And, there's a thought comes to your mind that अगर मैंने 5 mm, 200 mm के बजाय मैंने 5 mm कम किया, 195 mm किया, मुझे नहीं लगता कि क्लाइंट को कुछ फर्क पड़ेगा. बट वो 5 mm कम करने से मेरा 2.5% सेविंग होगा. That does come to a businessman's mind, and that is something you should not do, because in the end, if your client gets to know something that you have, you've goofed up, you've messed up, you've short-charged them, they'll never give you work again. So ethics conflict a lot in business. It's pretty tempting to be a little unethical in business, but in the long run, ethics is very important. That will get you work.
Okay. So the next question is, how do you leverage the feedback from stakeholder?
Okay. What do you mean by a stakeholder? Could you just tell me?
Maybe a client, I think.
All right.
Client or
right.
End users.
Right. So feedback from end users is very much required, because they are the ones who will be paying you, or they are the ones who will be using whatever you're making. So, or your end users can also be your employees, for example, because even they are a part of the system. So if an employee gives you a feedback, my boss used to be open, the owner of Drone Builders, he used to always entertain even a site supervisor if that person has something to say. Now, it happens that these guys have a lot of things to share with you all. They have a lot of ideas, and you should use that very much, because I had a site supervisor on one of my sites, and he told me that, sir, अपन जो scaffolding खड़ा कर रहे हैं, अपन 1.2 by 1.2 का grid use कर रहे हैं, लेकिन ये जो slab thickness है इसमें 1.5 by 1.5 का use किया तो भी चलेगा. So that ended up saving me a lot of money in scaffolding. Moreover, moving on to your stakeholders, that is your clients. The client, it is the client you're working for. So the feedback from the clients is very important, because they're the ones who are paying you, and they are the ones whom you are working for. So if they tell कि हाँ ये इसमें ये चीज मजा नहीं आया, ये क्वालिटी मुझे ठीक नहीं लग रहा है, so either you should convince them that the quality is good if you yourself are convinced, or it's simply that you rectify that thing. Or if, say, they give you feedback about a particular person on site, say that person is doing pretty good on your site and he should be rewarded. So if you reward that person, that person would be more motivated to work ahead. That is again, as Dr. Labh Singh had asked, that how do you motivate your peers? Rewarding is something very much essential to motivate somebody. Reward can be, verbal, कि तुमने बहुत अच्छा काम किया. It can be monetary. It can be in changing his position. Reward makes you work further. It makes you, charged up and all set to do good. That is how my project manager used to do with me. He used to tell, and he used to come and tell over, Gokul, एक बहुत important काम आया, ये तुमने ही करना चाहिए ऐसे मुझे लगता है, और मैं किसी और को ये काम नहीं देना चाहता हूँ. So what would happen is that Gokul would get charged up. हाँ यार, मेरे बॉस ने मेरे ऊपर बहुत सारा भरोसा दिखाया है, तो मैंने ये काम करना चाहिए. So that motivates a person. And feedback from stakeholders is, you can leverage that. Actually, feedback is there to leverage itself. You should not take the feedbacks negatively. That the feedbacks are there to be leveraged, not to be taken as something negative.
Yeah. Okay. So next question asked, Vedant Patil has asked, how to start a business for the students?
Okay.
That is one question asked.
Vedant, I'll tell you something that I've learned. You shouldn't start your business right away after graduating. You should work at least for a couple of years in whatever field. If you plan to start a consultancy, get a job in a consultancy that you want to start. Know the ins and outs. Don't care for your salary over there. Just care about how much you're learning over there. So the first point is that you shouldn't, I'll suggest, it's my personal suggestion, that don't go into business right away. Even if you have your own business, if your family owns a business, still I'll suggest that work for somebody else for a couple of years and then join your business, because that will help you a lot. Going on, a business needs capital. That is, I think that's a universal truth. So you should have some capital with you. You should, raising capital is another thing. Loans are getting easy these days. Moreover, government contracts are easy to get for graduates. If you graduated at least within 10 years, you can get government contracts in under the unemployed educated category. For that, you'll not have to invest much, but you can bid for smaller contracts, say 50 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs. It's up to 50 lakh rupees. So that is something you can do. If you want to get into consultancy, there's not much investment needed. There's something called as public relations that is needed. People should have faith in you to give you consultancy business. They should, you should have mentors in the field. That is something which is very important, but not very much focused upon. Mentors are very important in our field of work. Mentors can help you, with ideas. They can motivate you. They can help you with laborers, clients, everything. So mentors is something you should seek if you don't have strong backing up. And yes, that is how business is something that is very challenging, and you should be very sound with your knowledge about your business. Otherwise, I don't think you'll succeed much in it.
Yeah. Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So next question asked Nitin Ghalat.
Right.
He's asking about, should freshers know SAP and ERP? These are the softwares.
Okay. All right. SAP and ERP is something that you all should be well versed with. I guess ERP is getting redundant by these days. SAP is taking over in bigger firms. SAP is for setting systems in your project. not only you should, SAP and ERP is something a bit high funda for freshers. They should rather be focused on basic programming. They should know Excel, how Excel can be leveraged, because Excel is an excellent software. You can, we maintain our daily profit and loss on our particular site. We get a real-time status. What we do is we put in the data of the concrete done today, the shutting done today, the reinforcement tied today, whatever the things that are done on site, the site engineer gives us the values, and we enter it into a profit and loss statement, and we get to know that, okay, these are the labors that were utilized, and this is how much we'll be paying for the laborers for the materials, and this is how much we'll be getting in return. So we know where we are incurring losses, and we know where where we are profiting. So Excel, I'll suggest you all should know better. SAP is something you'll need in a huge corporate structure. For freshers to know SAP, I don't think SAP is taught in our college or any institute as a matter of fact. That is something you have to learn in your job or maybe do a course. But I don't think SAP is very much required for freshers unless your job is or your business is related to that. So that is something that you should inculcate, is knowing AutoCAD, knowing your basic softwares. AutoCAD is something that we should know, that is our bread and butter. Excel is our bread and butter. We should know planning software like Primavera or MSP, Microsoft projects. And there's another software, you should know basic programming, because that is also needed. So this is what I think you all should focus upon rather than SAP or ERP.
Okay, I think there is a question. We have completed all the questions asked by students.
Yes, I'll suggest that please feel free to ask me questions, because I don't think I have done justice to my experience in the webinar, because it's a bit difficult to cram up everything into it. So you can ask me anything, that.
Yes, students, if you have any questions, please put in the QA and so we'll ask to Gokul sir if you have any questions. Just I want to ask on behalf of students, sir.
Yes, sir.
As a fresher students, what problems students are facing when they are entered into the field?
All right. This is quite interesting.
In terms of, I think maybe a drawing reading, in terms of maybe a survey, taking out layouts, putting the layouts, or like that. That I want to ask.
All right. Sir, what happens is that our students, the new crop that is coming over, they take things lightly in their college, and because of that, they suffer in their job interviews. Last year, we were recruiting people, and I asked simple questions to the freshers who were there for interview. I asked them that how would you set out a line of a building? Say if I have a plot of say 100 feet by 100 feet, and the building size is 40 feet by 40 feet, and one side margin I want to keep is 20 feet, and on the other side, on the adjacent side, the margin would be 30 feet. So what was the remaining margin on the other two sides? Trust me, sir, the student was not able to answer that question. If a person doesn't know answer to such basic questions, I don't think they can be recruited right away.
Yes.
That is something.
Yes.
Surveying is very important. Like I told you, every subject that you learn in your college, please don't take it lightly. It is very important. If you don't learn it now, there'll be nobody to teach you when you go out. There's basic conversion. Like I said, feet to meters, meters to feet, cubic meters to brass, cubic feet to meters. They should know those basics, because we work in both the systems. We work in SI system as well, and we work with the older system as well. How much acres is 1 hectare, or how much hectares is how many hours? These are basic things that our students should know. Moving apart from the question you asked, there's something that I want to tell the students, that civil engineering, the field that you all have selected, is the most toughest field in our whole engineering group, because an engineer, when I was in Colgate-Palmolive in Ahmedabad, it was in a very remote location. Even a cup of tea was not available outside the site. If you're not feeling well, and if you want to go back to your residence, you really didn't have any means of transport over there. It was 20 kilometers away from the nearest town. So this is the conditions that we have to work in. The temperatures are pretty high. it used to soar above 50 degrees Celsius. The working hours are very long. Your official hours would be just 8, say morning 9 to evening 6. But what you work actually in the field is morning 8 to evening 9. So this is how it happens, and we should be ready for that. If this is not your cup of tea, I'll suggest that you should look for greener pastures other than contracting. Even in buildership, I guess this is what happens on site with site engineers. So we should be able to deal with everything. What happens is that even the peers that we have on our site, they're not so polished as we are. We being fortunate that we got education and everything, we are pretty polished, we are pretty decent with the knowledge, but the people whom we'll be working with are not that privileged. We'll be working with laborers. They'll be having their own crude ways. We'll be working with people from the lower end of the staff, say like a operator or a pump operator or a supervisor, or all these people. They are not educated as much as we are. Their ways are not as decent as we are, and we should toughen up. We should be able to deal with these people as well, because if we are not able to deal with these people, I don't think we'll be able to even do a job or a business.
Yes, yes, sir. Some more questions asked by students.
Right.
Shreyam is asked, my question is, if I have a good business plan, then how can I apply it into real life? If he has a plan,
right.
He's saying how he can apply in real life.
All right. Like they say, survey before plan before execution. So you should know what the current market situation is. Is your business plan fitting into the current market? If it is needed, say, 20 years back, nobody thought that, people would buy AAC blocks as much as they are buying it now. But the Shirkes had the vision. They introduced that product here and they made profit out of it. Same goes with Bhate Raje. Bhate Raje, I guess, are undisputed kings in Pune in pre-stressed structures, and I guess RCC as well. They undertake contracts from a lot of good reputed builders and people. So if you should hold the nerve of the market. Secondly, if you have a good business plan, how do you apply it in real life? Well, you just have to apply it. Make a plan. Okay, I have, say, if you have a plan of starting your own post-tensioning company. So what you'll have to do is, calculate what is the initial capital that you need, calculate the kind of team you'll be needing, just introspect that whether do you have that knowledge. Knowledge can either be gained or it can be hired as well. There are so many builders in Pune who are, I guess, 10th pass, 12th pass BCom, and they hire engineers and they are pretty successful in their lives. So, you can either have the knowledge or, like I said, you can delegate, you can hire people for that. And, you should have very good people communication skills. For business, you'll have to talk a lot and you'll have to market yourself really well. Only then your business plan would succeed. So I guess that is what you should do.
Dr. Lab Singh, means I think maybe student, he's raising hand, so I will disable him. So all please, right. Yes, Lab Singh, please ask your question.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. Actually, Mr. Ashish, I just wanted to congratulate VIIT for organizing such a wonderful webinar. And I've listened to Mr. Gokul from the very beginning, and I really found him very crystal clear about the concepts of business as such, plus particularly the civil construction projects, So actually, I have been an engineer. I am basically a retired government officer. But I am part of your webinar just because, this Huawei, which is the company running this whole program, yes. they have that alumni associations, and I am an alumni of Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh, and then I did my MBA from Punjab University, Chandigarh.
Okay.
And then I did my PhD also from Patiala, Punjab University. So I just wanted to convey my best wishes to everybody, and particularly to the students. I will like to add, if you permit me.
Yes, sir. Sure.
That students will have to start working very hard from the day one. They should not, if you have a degree of 4 years, or plus maybe some integrated degrees like Wits Pilani is giving, that is 5 years also. So from day one, you have to work very hard, and you can't just wait that, okay, in the final year only I'll work, or maybe in the final year when, placement agencies come, then only I'll work hard. So that is one. Second is that you have to know everything about everything or something about every branch of engineering. As a successful engineer, you have to know each many things about the other branches also. You just can't if you're a civil engineer, you can't just only concentrate on civil. That is one thing, very
Yes.
important. So then another thing is that if you are a civil engineer, you just can't. A student should not think that, okay, he'll be only doing construction works and designing for whole of the life. Because when you
Yes.
promote, you have to work as manager also. Then you have to do this multifunctional management. So
Yes.
so students should have many things in mind. And then tomorrow, even my colleagues, they were civil engineers, they were IAS officers. So as a IAS officer, lot of much more is expected from a civil engineer than only civil engineering. So
Yes.
all the students, I like to just advise that they should have very broad-minded approach towards the engineering. Engineer is all prevailing. So I think I will once again congratulate all of you without taking much of your time, and best of luck. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank
much.
you, sir. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Gokul, sir.
Yes, sir.
One more student raising hand, that is Kumari Sunidhi.
All right.
So I will disable, means enable his,
Right.
and will ask question. Yes, Sunidhi. Hello. Hello. Is Sunidhi is there? I think okay. Gokul, sir.
Yes, sir.
I think we have mm, completed our webinar. There, I think there is no question in the chat FAQs. Yes, one more. I think two
There's
questions.
one question.
Yes, yes, two questions are there.
Would capital
Sir,
be my concern? If yes, how can I deal with it?
yeah, these two
To do
questions are there.
business, capital is always your concern. No matter how much you grow, capital will always remain your concern, because the more you grow, the more you invest. The more you invest, the more you'll have to raise your capital. So that is something that we need to know about business. And how do I deal with it? Deal with it in various ways. You should raise the capital first by various means. Either you can earn it by working a job, but I don't think that will give you much of a capital that is needed for your business. Second, if you have a sound funding from your home, that is fantastic. But I'll suggest that always take money from your parents or your family as a loan, pay interest on it, because that will be a ticking timer on your head that you shouldn't be going around just wasting or spending the money without returning it back. Third option is finding a partner who has capital but who doesn't have a knowledge. There are so many engineering firms in Pune, buildership firms in Pune, contracting firms in Pune. The owner, the person who invested capital in it, didn't have pretty much of knowledge. What he did was take a partner, a stakeholder who had knowledge but who didn't have capital. My own father started his buildership business in that way. We didn't have much capital, so he approached a family friend. He said that, okay, I have this idea, we can do this. I don't have capital, I'll have a stake in the partnership. You invest the capital and we'll run the business. So that is how it happens. That is why team building, contacts, connections are very much needed. There's also a thing called as bank loans. Bank loans are getting easier by the day from what I am seeing. The banks are rolling out a red carpet to people whom they feel that they'll be returning their loans, whom they feel that they have a sound business plan. But for that, you'll have to start something initially to show the bank that you have something going on. So, the best part is to raise capital through your, you can even go for crowdfunding. You can set up a company, have shareholders. There's a company in Pune called as Phoenix Meticon, I guess. They do low income group and middle income group residential projects. It's a LLP. They have 2,000 partners in it. Now these partners are all IT people from Hinjawadi, and they invest money in it. Whatever surplus money they get, they invest into that company, and that company executes various residential projects on the outskirts of Pune. So that is also a mean of raising capital. So initially, I think you'll have to raise some capital on your own. That is pretty challenging, and that is the reason many don't venture into business, because a lot is at stake. Their own money is at stake. So this is how you can raise capital.
Yes. One more question is asked by students. He's asking about how we can apply for job, because companies are saying the experienced candidates are required, at minimum 1 year experience is required. As a freshers, he's saying how we can apply in such situations.
All right.
They are expecting 1 year experience.
Okay, I'll give you an example of one of the earlier contracting projects that I undertook. It was a residential building, and the only thing that we had in our profile was constructing a weighbridge. A weighbridge is a very small thing to construct. It just takes, I guess, 15-20 days to construct. It doesn't cost more than 5 lakh rupees. So that is what our turnover was initially. So we went to this person, this builder, and told him that, okay, we are new, we are freshers in business, and we want work. So he said that, how should I trust you? How should I give you this work? So we told him that if everybody keeps on saying that we'll be only hiring experienced people, there'll be no new faces coming up in business. So that is a fact. He appreciated that fact, and he gave us, awarded us a contract. Coming to the point again, I think it is a bit of a misconception that companies just want experienced candidates. Rather, if you ask me, I'll rather hire a fresher engineer, because I can mold that person, train him the way I wish, in my own way, in my own, the styles that I have of working on my side. So that will be more beneficial to me. Moreover, I'll have to pay less to a fresher engineer. I can reap more profit out of it. I think that, it should not be a concern. It is a concern at the moment. I agree, yes. But, in coming times, there'll be a lot of projects coming up. People need freshers. People need to build their own team. Like I said, you need a right hand and a left hand. I don't have an engineer, but I have a person working as my site supervisor. He was a labor on my site. I saw that this guy is pretty brilliant. He had a MA in arts, and it's just because of his financial condition. He was working as a laborer at my site. I could see that he knows his maths, he knows his stuff. I taught him how to read a drawing, and right now I think he draws more income as a site supervisor than the other engineers that I have, the fresher that I have on site. So people are open to, ideas. It's not that freshers don't get a chance. I think you should just keep on applying. You'll have a chance in the field.
One interesting question asked by one student. What are the kind of trade license required for starting a business? This is one.
Right.
In second question, he asked, like, there is any single type of trade license for any startup, or it depends on business to business?
It depends on business to business. The first thing that you'll have to apply for is a Shop Act and a PAN card. That is basic that you need. Shop Act is something that, it's just a formality these days. I don't think Shop Act is, it doesn't serve the purpose, but that is something that you'll have to do. Without a Shop Act, you can't open your bank account, nor can you get your, PAN card. You can't do everything. Next comes your PAN card. After you have your PAN card on your firm's name, you then, you just calculate how much your turnover would be. If your turnover doesn't exceed, I guess, 1.5 crores a year, I'm not sure actually, is it? No, sorry. If your turnover doesn't go over 40 lakh rupees a year, you won't have to apply for GST certificate. You're not liable to pay GST. But file taxes for GST. You'll have to pay GST on whatever purchases you make, but you won't have to file taxes for GST. If your turnover goes over 40 lakh rupees, you'll have to, of course, have a GST number drawn. After that, if you have a labor strength or a staff strength over 20 people on your, muster, you'll have to apply for a labor license. You'll have to comply with the PFESI. If you have 100 people over your roster as your workers, you'll have to go for a labor license. Labor license is something that permits you to keep laborers, and there are compliances, various other compliances. I haven't applied for that licenses yet, because all I do is I hire contractual workers, so that saves a lot of headache for me. I don't have to get into, there can be a lot of troubles with the labor. So the contractor who works for me, the labor contractor, he looks after those troubles. So, that is something that I avoid doing. But yes, if your company grows, I really hope it does. So you'll have to apply for labor licenses. Other than that, we are all saved. Earlier it was, you had to apply for service tax, VAT and all those things. But GST has made it pretty simple. Apart from that, if you're getting into, government projects, you'll of course have to issue government licenses. There are different licenses for PWD, Zilla Parishad. And if you were to work for Pune Municipal Corporation, you'll have to apply for another license. So these are the basic licenses that you'll need initially when you start your work.
Okay. Sir, now
Yes, sir.
I think we have finished our all questions, and chat box also is, we have completed all the questions.
Right.
So we'll conclude with this. Now it's 11:18.
Right.
So I would love thanks to be here as a alumni, as a part of VIIT. So it is my privilege to propose vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of Department of Civil Engineering, VIIT Pune, I extend my very hearty vote of thanks to our today's speaker, that is Mr. Gokul Botra,
Thank you, sir.
on their presence of value, on the presence of this webinar, and taking out the time from their busy schedule. So thank you, Gokul sir,
You're welcome, sir.
to be here. I mentioned our deep sense and appreciation towards this Gokul sir, because you have taken a lot of efforts for completing or the successful completion of this webinar. So thank you, thank you.
Anytime, sir.
I also wish to express my thanks to our director, Dean Industry Interaction, Alumni Association, and Huawei. Without this support of the Huawei, we are unable to complete this session. So I thank you for all these supports, and also thank to all participants for being patiently listening. And interactive session is there because many students ask the questions, and this is a successful event, we can say, because without question and answer, we cannot say that the sessions will be successfully completed. So I thanks to all participants or students. I especially thank to Joshi sir. Unfortunately, their network is not there. Proper network is not there, but he is present from the start of. So thank you all. So shall we conclude, Gokul sir? If you
Yes, sir.
have any thing, so please you can. Otherwise, we'll stop.
It's been a great pleasure to interact. Even though it was a one-way interaction with you all, I'm really glad that we could interact. And if you need any help or guidance, further guidance, sir has my email address. You all can mail me anytime you wish with whatever questions you have related to the field, or whatever queries that you get. I'll be really happy to help my juniors with their work, because I know that I've been through the mill, and I'd really like to save the trouble for you all. Thank you all.
Yes. So students, this is our every time Gokul sir is interacting to our students in our department, he is there for the support. So please, if you have any questions or anything, I will share his email ID to you. So please contact without any hesitation. So hope this is will conclude here, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So thank you all. Thank you. Yes.